Okay. So yesterday, sorry, day before, I mean on Friday, we were on this paragraph here. Let me just close this window. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just recap again. The entity that understands is Jeevan, which drives the human body. Whatever we taught animals is within the realm of sensitivity. But how does one human make another understand? No one has been able to force understanding upon another. Mm. Okay, I'll just continue now. A person may remain restrained by fear of livelihood for some time, but eventually shed that fear. The end of slavery in humanity exemplifies this. Sensitivity involves fear and temptation, and all nationals, religious, industrial, and commercial establishments claim to provide order based on fear and temptation. So let's ponder on this a little bit. So yes, we have seen that how the end of slavery is showing, or it's exemplifying that we cannot be controlled by punishment or by brute force or things of that nature. And sensitivity involves fear and temptation. And all nations, religious, industrial, and commercial establishments claim to provide order based on fear and temptation. So, can we have uh, Ganesh Priya? Namaste. Would you like to elaborate what it means? Slavery, sensitivity involves fear and temptation. I'm trying to understand that part. Is it possible you can come online?
Namaste, bhaiya.
Namaste, yes.
I I have just joined. So give me
Okay.
1 or 2 minutes. I was making some setting in the laptop.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, you just continue then, or you can repeat this particular line.
Okay, okay. No issues. Huh. So, however, neither oh yeah. So, however, I'll just continue ahead, then we'll come back to this whole paragraph. However, neither fear nor temptation can be the basis of orderliness as they are unacceptable to humans. So, this is quite easily to understand. Like, we cannot be put into orderliness or नियंत्रित नहीं हो सकते हैं भय और fear and temptation है ना. So that's what we are trying to say is that we cannot be controlled by that for so long. We will somewhere down the line see the truth, and we will be like away from that person who is controlling us through these ways. So that's, I think, what it is meaning here. Hmm. So what should humans have? Values and evaluation. Evaluation, sorry. Evaluation, yeah. Mm. I think we should discuss this before we read ahead. So, well, I'm just highlighting the whole paragraph that we are looking at.
Okay, maybe I can add something.
Please.
So basically, he's saying, go a little up.
Mm.
That's it. The entity that understands is Jeevan, which
Mm.
drives the human body.
Mm.
Whatever we have taught animals is within the realm of sensitivity.
Mm.
But how does one human make another understand?
Mm.
So we have trained animals also. And
Mm.
how do we train them? On the basis of either like temptation, or
Right.
we make them fearful with a stick.
Right.
So since we have imagined that humans are also a type of animals, or a little more evolved animals, so
Mm.
that is how we are also trying to treat them or train them.
Mm.
But that's not how it understands. So
Mm.
here's darshan, coexistentialism.
Mm.
It is propounding that human beings are a different order altogether. So the
Mm.
rules are not the same, the laws
Mm.
are not the same. है ना? So
Mm.
the regulation does not happen in the same manner as it happens for animals. So he's saying whatever we have taught animals is within the realm of sensitivity, but
Mm.
how does one human make another understand?
Mm.
And we also think that we are teaching the animals and their understanding, while they are
Mm.
not understanding. They are
Mm.
getting regulated by that, because
Mm.
the limitation of their living, no? Or
Mm.
the word is not actually living; they're only surviving.
Mm.
No? So
Yeah.
it remains like that.
Right.
So a person may remain restrained by the fear of livelihood for some time.
Mm.
So yes, he is countering that, as we see that people
Mm.
do, we may feel that people do get controlled by fear and greed, but that's not true.
Mm.
He's saying a person may remain restrained by the fear of livelihood for some time, not the
Mm.
survival, livelihood, because
Mm.
people want to live, and for
Right.
the system is such that the livelihood comes with
Mm.
money. So to earn
Ah.
that money, to earn that bread, and live a
Right.
nice life, they might be controlled for some time,
Mm.
but eventually they shed that fear,
Yeah.
and that too as a collective, not as an individual. For
Mm.
example, if you see the freedom fighters or freedom fights all across the globe,
Mm.
and you also see the end of slavery. So
Right.
slavery is not accepted by human beings
Mm.
mostly. Like for freedom fights are for the same, right? For the
Right.
like it might be in India or Africa,
Mm.
or when the slaves were kept in US, like that. So
Yeah.
the slavery is not accepted by human beings.
Mm.
So the end of slavery in history exemplifies. So there are multiple examples out of that. He is giving the example of slavery, even though their mindset was very poor.
Mm.
Even the research papers were written that black people are comparatively, they have low IQ. And you have seen that documentary where they
Yeah.
were projecting,
They
the
were
black people are projected as comparatively less brainy,
less
or
evolved because
less evolved.
this was the way they were being treated, and also the way they were depicted in cartoons. They were usually the cotton pickers of that time, in those times. So even at that time, like obviously they were kept as slaves, so there was not much of question of them being the culprit, but they were treated as such. So they would make them see, like they would be classified as dirty people, or the people who are with big lips or something like that. And then they were having, obviously they were not going to schools because they were not allowed to go to school, so they would be depicted as low IQ and all these kind of things. Yeah.
Yes. So that's what he's trying to indicate. Sensitivity involves fear and temptation, and
Mm.
all nations, religions, industrial and commercial establishments claim to
Mm.
provide order based on fear and temptation. So
Mm.
whether like be it an industry or a company, or
Mm.
be it any government these corporations, or
Mm.
a religion, all of these are trying to control people based
Mm.
on temptation or fear
Mm.
of hell and temptation of heaven, fear
Mm.
of uh, you being removed from the job, and
Right.
temptation of an increment,
Right.
like that. Okay. So, however, neither fear nor temptation can be the basis of orderliness, as they are unacceptable to humans. This is very
Mm.
interesting. So,
Mm.
sometime, a person just for the sake of survival, and
Mm.
they might accept this.
Right.
But, people want, once they are out of this loop,
Mm.
then they are not controlled by fear. So what
mm,
should humans have?
mm,
Now he is telling, because we are the different order, human beings
mm,
are different order,
mm,
values and evaluation. So first we have to understand the what are the values and evaluation. We should know how to evaluate also.
mm,
Okay, so
mm,
basically what is he trying to say here?
mm,
Values are the things or the realities
mm,
to which a human being is regulated,
mm,
or the word they have used is that is the basis of orderliness. So what
mm,
are the values? For example, love is a value. People
mm,
feel relaxed, people
mm,
feel regulated, people feel happy, people feel open,
mm,
people feel free in these in love.
mm,
Okay? People feel um, good, or regulated or
mm,
orderly in
mm,
faith. Sorry,
mm.
not faith. Sorry. Trust.
Trust.
Trust. Yes.
Mm,
So like that. So values and evaluation.
mm,
So there is a thing called value, and then evaluation means basically education. You should have standards. आगे लिखा
mm,
है ना. There must be a method to recognize values and a technique for evaluation. You can
mm,
read again.
mm. Yeah, so there must be a method of recognize a method to recognize values and technique for evaluation. With these two things, the tradition of continuous resolution will persist. Okay. With these two things, the tradition, मतलब परंपरा, the tradition from one generation to the next. I believe that's what it's meaning here, and that too of the between human beings from other places also. So the tradition of continuous resolution will persist. Yeah. Values and evaluation are process of understanding. They are not bodily or mechanical processes. Currently, science asserts that everything is mechanical and that feelings are insignificant.
Yes,
Hmm.
very important. I know this can be discussed the
Hmm.
whole session actually.
Hmm. Okay.
And I'm actually worried. 2 days ago, it was Saturday, and I was surfing a lot. I was
Hmm.
just watching so many reels, and all these psychology people. This I watch. If I start watching one kind of reels, similar kind of reels start coming in.
Hmm.
So I was watching some of the reels, and they were showing, how men are like this, women are like that, and and there was so much of, men, woman, differentiation and all the
Disorderliness.
time. Yeah, yes. So, for example, women like to talk, men don't. Men are
Hmm.
like, they like to cave in. I have even read the books. If
Hmm.
if you have heard of this book, there is a book called Men Are From Mars and Women From
Ah,
Venus. So there is
right,
a
right.
whole story how men and women are different.
Different, yeah.
And as counselors, like we are so like trained to treat men and women differently, you know.
Hmm.
And I was just, that was the conclusion of my whole watching all the reels, that these things are actually propagating. These counselors, these psychologists are claiming to understand, but they
Hmm.
are understanding these things. They're not even taking into consideration the upbringing, the notions and beliefs which are passed on to the
Hmm.
child as
Hmm.
the notions and beliefs, and then they are like, men are like this, women are like that, when it is actually not true. So
Hmm.
the roots of all those things, are into even like scriptures, religions,
Hmm.
they're kind of, shaping these ideas and notions, and they are
Hmm.
propagating, each and every, that's my conclusion on this. So
Hmm.
and then another thing about hormones, they're talking so much of hormones, like
Hmm.
as if, everything is mechanical. This love, like they're treating also like somebody is depressed, give them some kind of chemical,
Hmm.
and they should be all right, when that is not happening. I and you both know, we know that.
Hmm.
So people don't need the chemicals actually.
Hmm.
People need some kind of satisfaction. So they are thinking the like they are just treating human beings only as bodies.
Hmm.
So that is happening. So currently, science, so-called scientific understanding, scientific they're actually not scientific at all. That's my conclusion. Scientific, not at all, as if they are incomplete.
Hmm.
You cannot call them scientific until the vision is holistic.
Hmm.
In Babaji's language, see, this is again, science has to be defined.
Hmm.
When Babaji uses the word science, it means something that gives direction to the goal of the humankind. And
Hmm.
here, anyways, they are using the like how big science as science.
Hmm.
Got it?
It's yeah,
Hmm.
it's interesting how yes, Ganesh bhai, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
rightly Didi has said that.
Right.
I also wonder that if someone has some problem which is psychological or which is related to the mind,
Right.
how it can be treated through medicines. And it
Hmm.
is simply befooling the person.
Hmm.
Otherwise, if something has gone wrong in the mind or
Hmm.
in the conscious part, it has
Hmm.
to be treated accordingly. So that should
Hmm.
be the treatment. And
Hmm.
now, as since science and mechanical things don't signify these things, that is
Hmm.
why they are not giving much consideration to the feelings,
Hmm.
or that is the reason they are treating bodily, na?
Hmm.
With
Hmm.
symptoms which are related to the Jeevan, they are treating bodily.
Hmm.
So that I don't feel it is going to give a proper
Hmm.
impact or proper
Hmm.
remedy to the person. The
Hmm.
proper remedy will be when, if there is a problem in the Jeevan, that
Hmm.
has to be treated in the Jeevan itself. So
Hmm.
that is my take on this.
Yes. Yeah, I just also want to add one thing that centralization of a lot of things is happening, and it has happened in this in the industrial age. Very like basic things, even like electricity or even water, all these things are centralized. And by centralization, I mean that there is a point at which they are uh, they are brought, processed, and then dispersed from that place. So I remember this fact in where I was living in when I was young. The place is called Kongoya Market. Now that word means that there is a very huge, big market, and that market was the central market in that coastal town of Mombasa. But now that market was across the bridge. So at that time, when the bridge was built, they used to take this ticket, to cross the bridge. So every person who was a farmer, they had to cross the bridge, and then that Kongaya market was there, and then the food had to be like sold off to the buyers there, and then the buyers again came to town, crossing the bridge again to come to town. So it was such a like it was obvious that this is double the people have to pay. The person is growing something in the town, he goes to the market which is across the bridge, and then he pays the fare of the bridge, and the person who wants to sell it also wants to sell it in the town. So now he also has to pay the bridge, the bridge fare. So similarly in electricity also, we are paying something that the sunlight is falling on the sky from the sky in each home, but then we are paying some centralized body, and then we are consuming electricity from them. So we have all these wires coming to a home, all this investment that is made so much in transformers and all these big huge towers that are holding the wires and all these things. Similarly, we can say about the water, the drainage system and the sewage system and the water system is there. Every house is there. Now they're plowing up every place to put the gas pipeline, and just starting to make burden the person with all these costs that they have to be incurred, because these costs will ultimately just, they are investing the money, then they will also reap the profits one day from us only. So I'm just seeing how when you are resolved within, I'm just touching on all these things because it is affecting us, like literally we have no way out in these kind of things. But when we see that if it's centralized, like if we are decentralized rather, if we have our own resolution, each one of us, if we are not relying on science too much for our own happiness, for our own resolution, then definitely each human being will be a great asset for their family, for their society, for their country. So yes, it is a very emergent and a very urgent thing also, I would say, that we should adopt this as soon as possible. And yeah, according to what this is going today, and I'm seeing that all these facilities that we are being shown or being like a jagmag jagmag, we are just shown like blinking things, that we are going to get this, we are going to get that, ultimately is a way of controlling the human being. And then the control, by control I mean the pricing is controlled. You have to work, you have to go up, get up and work. You have to buy the latest things, you know. Otherwise the old things, like the cars, now they will, there is a rule that if the car is 10 years, it will be scrapped. So you have to work hard to get another car, otherwise the first one will be scrapped. So these kind of things we can see, can how our own facilitations are now becoming our own burdens. So yeah, I thought of
So
adding to it.
I have a car which is 12 to 13-year old. I
Huh.
know this can still work for many years, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, after 2 years, I have
uh,
to sell it out or scrap it out.
right, right.
So yes, you are very right that
Mm.
unnecessarily we have.
uh,
Otherwise, what should happen with some
uh,
modification? I should continue with that car.
yeah, yeah,
So that should be
that's what.
there.
And the worst part is the engineers are making it so hard to repair some of the things. Like, you know, the mechanics, I go to speak to them, they are saying this is a computer controlled car, we cannot fix it. Or they will say that this needs a laptop to diagnose it first. Just like, you know, when you go to a hospital, you have to have these 10 tests first, then the doctor will touch you and give you the medicines. या तो उसके हाथ भी नहीं लगाएगा उससे पहले. So before that, he will just give you the 10 test. You get the 10 test, your heartbeat rate, your, white cell count, red cell count, whatever it is. Then only he will go ahead and now diagnose you. So before, these things were not there. Before, the decentralized way of even healthcare was so gorgeous and beautiful. Like every person knew everybody else. The doctor knew the people in the village, and according to, based on their, you know, the structure, the ayurveda part, they used to see the person, they used to know what is wrong with him instantly by just taking the pulse. And the dexterity was there at that time. Now it is just like, you bring the car, if something is wrong, it's not in warranty, you clubbed the charges of service, repair with the parts and all this thing, and they don't repair the parts, they just replace them. There is a big difference. Replacing something creates a lot of pollution. Like, I will give you an example. When I was young, they used to repair the motherboard of computers by checking each capacitors or transistor or whatever it is, and they used to solder it out and put it in. They should charge something like 50 or 100 rupees. Now the motherboards have become cheap, or the people are not doing it anymore, or I don't know what. The motherboards, you just have to replace the motherboard. The motherboard is 5,000 or 6,000, whatever. There is no person repairing motherboards as such. And the fact I found out is that when you repair something, you are liable, the repairman is liable for the warranty of the product, that it will continue. Or if the fire breaks out, if the product catches fire, then the person who has repaired it will be liable for that. So suddenly, and same thing happens with the doctors. When a doctor is diagnosing somebody and he finds something, and his intuition is wrong, or he doesn't get the diagnosis right, then people are starting to sue the doctor. So now the doctors also, they don't have any place to go. They have having this like basic level of safety with them, and because of that they are trying to treat us like this, ultimately replacing trust with distrust. This is what I'm seeing happening in each and every branch of societal developments. So yeah, this is a grave misunderstanding in both sides, I would say. Yes. Anybody else want to add? Okay.
नमस्ते भैया। आई वॉज जस्ट थिंकिंग भैया कि साइंस है ना, लॉजिकल पार्ट पे उसने काम किया है, इट इज वर्कड ऑन दैट.
Hmm.
So why is of course it says that everything is mechanical. They say that, and feelings are insignificant.
Hmm.
But is some necessity, जैसे कहते हैं, इसलिए invention या discovery was done, right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
some necessity. Now
Hmm.
in this process, a human being only was doing all this, and
Hmm.
uh, because they couldn't go through this penance part or the sadhana part, which
Hmm.
rishi munis used to go, so
Hmm.
they wanted to satisfy the logical part. So
Hmm.
what went wrong in that human?
Hmm.
I understand down the line, because wars happened, so that mindset must have been there, but I don't know why. If a Jeevan is I feel is the main entity.
Hmm.
Uh, why it's not able to with the Vyapak's urja,
Hmm.
uh, that energy, why it's not been able to reflect.
Hmm.
Uh, like we got birth to know ourselves,
Hmm.
to know the Jeevan.
Hmm.
uh, I just don't know why, with that energy, why it's not able to reflect on its own. Because the Anuman, Abhas, what we say, the
Hmm.
intuitions, or I mean, I still am not able to get where scientific man went wrong.
I,
The
he's,
logical part was needed because
huh.
देखिए अनुभव जैसे बाबा जी ने कहा है, so in
Hmm.
that in the Bhaktivad,
Hmm.
what happened is they thought that Atma is there and we have to matlab for them moksha, the salvation was to leave this world. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that was salvation because the world that they had made was full of sorrow.
Hmm.
Were living that, and they couldn't see the actual things,
Hmm.
the four
Order.
orders that are
Hmm.
given, right?
Hmm.
So why there was means there was something need of science कि कैसे सब हो रहा है, तो where the humans went wrong and why in that way of logical they miss this part, I still am not able to understand. It's not just Praloban. I think it's just, I don't know, it's one theory in me which says that it's just this whole world is just, run by just few minds actually.
Huh. No,
The
I,
whole human power is not being utilized. Only few men are just running this world. They have got the
hmm.
gimmicks of fear and temptation. So that is why they are just running it, I feel.
Hmm. Huh. Nee, I would like to add that until now, even the idealism has not succeeded, because if they had succeeded, uski parampara, its continuation would be there.
No,
There.
I understand it. It is not succeeded. I
Hmm.
totally understand that.
Hmm.
But the thing is, the scientific part now here, this one
Hmm.
sentence only, science asserts that everything is
Hmm.
mechanical and that feelings are
Exactly.
insignificant. It is run by a human, the science part. They
Hmm.
thought that analytical mind is within us only.
Hmm.
So, agar if they had not done this much discoveries, inventions,
Right.
wouldn't be able to know the things, on face value, or
Hmm.
to know as they are
Maybe.
in. Huh.
Maybe we can argue like that, it's a very crude example, but let's say that somebody has just like 10 rupees, so they would know just counting till 1 to 10, so like when we are holding on to that, like 1 to 10 only, we know 1 to 10 and that's the right thing, that's the ego that comes in after that, I know 1 to 10 and that's it, that's the only thing you have to learn. But now Babaji is saying that look, it is 1 to 10 and then there's something called 11, 12 till 100. Like there is something called coexistence, and this is how everything is coexisted for millions of years, and we are also in gratitude of them, these things existing for hundreds and thousands of years. And look, this is how this links with this, and this is how this will links with this. So then now once the zoom out happens, it's like that. We are so zoomed in and we cannot see the whole picture. And if you know about computers, when you
Hmm.
zoom in, there is just particular type of colors that you can see. And if you go out, you will see the whole picture. If I'm making
Hmm.
sense, it's called pixelation. When you zoom into a picture, you will just
Hmm.
see some random colors, which will
Hmm.
not make any sense. So there you will say there are only 10 colors on the picture. But then when
Hmm.
you zoom out, you will see that there
Hmm.
are millions of colors. Millions of colors are interacting with each other to make and produce a story, a picture, a grandeur, elegant, artistic perspective, point of view.
Hmm.
So that's what I think that Babaji has done. He has zoomed out and shown us the picture, where science has just been zooming in, fragmenting, and dividing the things up, and trying to look at it with just a very narrow mindset, and then perceiving it, okay, since an apple fell on my head, it is gravity, and this is how the acceleration is, but not knowing what is the gravity's purpose at the existential point of view, that gravity is there to hold on to things that are matter related, so that existence, so that humans can exist, so that humans can evolve, they can live, they can exist in peace and harmony. Imagine the things were not attracted to Earth because of gravity, everything would be flying around. In fact, the astronaut who has returned from the International Space Station, I'm forgetting her name. Basically,
Kalpana
she,
Chawla.
huh?
Kalpana Chawla.
No, the I think she might be the
Sunita
one.
Williams. Like, tell me the story, then I'll
The
tell you.
story is that her bone density is very
Sunita
less.
Williams.
So the
Sunita
hormone
Williams.
density is less, and she is also forgotten to walk. Now she is learning to walk again. This is what happens when the gravity is not there. So the purpose of gravity is not to attract the apple to the ground only and accelerate it to this rate only. That's it. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to human beings to exist, the plant life to exist in coexistence with everything else, so that we can be of knowledge order, so that we can have a family, coexist with a family in harmony, so that we can coexist with the society, so that we can coexist with the whole world, you know. And this is what I think is the crucial missing piece of the puzzle, or rather the whole puzzle zoomed out. Yeah.
Very well said. Bhabhi, can you ask the question once again, maybe in one line? Let
Okay.
me see if I can help you.
Uh, See, there has been a study like humans have come into existence. Okay. Now, my question is one way was seeing inside a human. That was one way, which was followed by an idealism person who was following that. Now, there was something which was not full in that concept. So, there was a logical part of a human being who wanted to see it. So, maybe that's how science came into existence, I feel. And they wanted to see everything into labs, see properly, or prove everything into labs. So, what went missing is what I wanted to ask in human beings. And Babaji, because he saw the main, he had some I mean, he saw that. I'm not able to get the words.
You
Basically,
can ask in Hindi, maybe.
he had some
Both of
questions in mind. Okay, and that is why maybe this darshan came into picture. But he
them.
went through to get a anubhav, he went through the part which was followed by idealism. So I am not able to, this part in me is not being able to resolve that. Of course, he went through the part of idealism, and through that part, there was one kriya that he did on his own, where he found the actual answers of human beings. So I think uh, what went missing in both these things is I wanted to know the idealism concept and the science part. Science part was able to find prove everything in labs, and that is why we are able to learn in science about atoms and stuff. uh,
Okay. So
in
actually, it is
idealism,
extensively.
they had to go through the sadhana part to find, which was रहस्यमय to for us to understand what they are saying. परमाणु अभी उन्होंने देखा है. What I'm trying to say is, बाबा जी कह रहे हैं हम एक इकाई है, हम एक परमाणु है. But until and unless we see it, it's just about we are just believing it that yeah, we are an atom.
Mm.
What I'm trying to say is there are some things which we are just believing, yeah, that yeah, he's saying that we are an atom, we are complete in ourselves.
Mm.
These things I'm just believing. So there are few things I'm not
Yeah.
resolved yet. One is where science missed its part, and
Where
what state
idealism
of
missed its
work.
mark. Mm. So it is
Uh,
actually written extensively in various books. As much as I could understand the question, I would try to give you some pointers. and then maybe we can later discuss on it also. I can give you the like places where you can read it also maybe.
Hmm.
So in idealism, see, idealism is an ism, it's an ism, and there is a process, right?
Hmm.
So there are various processes, and one of the processes is to achieve samadhi
Hmm.
through Patanjali Yoga Sutra.
Hmm.
Okay. So there he was given the assurance that gyan will happen to you. You will learn what you
Hmm.
need to.
Hmm.
Earlier, people were doing this, they wanted to reach a stage where they just wanted to get rid of all the pain.
Hmm. Hmm.
So for them, they did get rid of all the pain, but they
Right.
also got rid of all the joys. So that is also called, sama, sukh dukh se pare, there's a
Hmm.
word for it. So they
Hmm.
became sukh dukh se pare, and that's it, because they always demanded that much. But
Hmm.
Babaji here, this is a very crucial point also. The question you have asked, I believe it's an important question, because Babaji is not wanting to get rid of any pain, because his life is not full of pain. He, in his videos, he says हमको कभी कोई असमृद्धि का भाव छू नहीं गया.
Correct.
हमको कभी कोई पेन छू नहीं गया. So he was not in pain. He was born in a very affluent family rather, but he had certain questions. He needed the answers. That's it. So he then said, okay, ज्ञान तो हुआ नहीं. When I achieved samadhi, gyan nahi hua. Now what do I do? So he is doubting his happening of samadhi, whether samadhi happened or not. So now he is actually questioning his own.
Okay, I've done.
So he is questioning whether samadhi really happened to me or not, because when
Hmm.
he was telling this to other saint, so the saints were saying, okay, whatever you are saying sounds like samadhi, but I don't know whether it happened or not. There's a story Babaji says so he pointed that out to me, and I realized, yes, that should be done. So he is doing this Sanyam Prakriya, but then he is in doubt also that I don't want any siddhis. If you read that, it's a 15 pages book. If you come to my house now, whenever, I can actually show it to you, that it's a very thin book,
Hmm.
lesser than a Hanuman Chalisa, the
Maybe
Patanjali Yoga Sutra.
Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Okay.
Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So
Hmm.
there in Vibhuti Pad it is written
Hmm.
that if you need siddhis, because after Sanyam, Patanjali has also not discovered anything. Maybe he also didn't want, maybe the like, as far as he went was just to find like get some siddhis. If you focus on your throat chakra, you might get rid of thirst. If you focus on your Nabhi chakra, you will get rid of your hunger, things like that. Okay, so now Babaji is confused. He's like, okay, I do not want to get siddhis, but if I don't do Sanyam, it will also not be proven that I have achieved Samadhi. So these are actually, whatever I'm speaking is my guess, it's my Anuman, as I have studied and concluded.
Hmm.
Now Babaji is saying, okay, let me try something new, like a scientist. So you need to understand, we need to understand, as I understand it, that he is approaching it like, let's try something new. What if I do this? So Babaji has chosen Akash Tattva for doing Sanyam. Why? Because he had seen that in the stage of Samadhi. In the state of Samadhi, he felt as if he was immersed in a swimming pool or in a river, and the sun was shining. So when he opens his eyes, it feels, there's a yellow kind of liquidish energy that he was feeling, and he realized it was Akash. That's why he has chosen Akash Tattva to do Sanyam.
Hmm.
And then choosing that, and then he shifted the like, आगे पीछे उनको किया, and it is a very simple process. As I understand it, it is like, first he zoomed in and then he zoomed out. It's a process of simple dharana dhyan samadhi, is nothing but trying to understand that part. So the way he has done it, it's not such a, if we were at the same point now, maybe if I were at the same point, I would actually also, because there are only three things that are happening: samadhi, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. So what could you possibly do? How many permutation and combinations can happen? So he is curious. He is, thinking, okay, this might work. So he's just doing it. And in that, the process he has done, because he he focused on Akash Tattva. Akash Tattva, what is that? It is Brahma, it is Gyan. So he has focused on that part only. So of course, अगर कोई ज्ञान पे ही संयम कर लेगा तो उसको ज्ञान समझ में आ जाएगा. And that's how each, I believe that's how he got all the answers. He had to get all the answers. The technique is very technical in nature. Okay, and so that was part. So he's not going through idealism, and he's not also taking us through idealism. That's why he's able to say, oh, I understood. And like, understanding is also a way of reaching to that place. So that's why, in this process of adhyan that he has given to us, he said, okay, you can totally skip samadhi. So whatever adhyan he has done through his Sanyam phase, he has given it to us directly. Okay, this is
Mm.
how you understand, and you will reach to the same place.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
idealism is an ism, if you can actually read about it a little bit in wiki. And similarly, so idealism earlier, what was the problem that was happening was they were expecting the ikai to vilay, to dissolve in the Brahma, and
Hmm.
that's it. So idealism, they were over after it. So idealism ने क्या किया? It gave so much importance to the Brahma, to the Vyapak, to the Satta, and it completely neglected the Ikai. While in materialism, what happened? They did not know because they have to prove everything, and
Hmm.
that too by machines, some kind of
Hmm.
experiment, and they are not accepting anything that cannot be
Visible.
proven by machines.
Mm.
Now they cannot prove Satta like that. That is their own mental limitation that they have created. But
Right.
Hmm.
also, if you see new these documentaries where scientists are actually talking that the space is not empty, and they are actually reaching to this place. These scientists, these people are actually releasing their boundaries, I feel. So
Mm.
now they had created their limitations. Now the third question, when I mentioned science, when Babaji is saying that science, the purpose of science is to give direction towards the goal of the human being. Now,
Hmm.
why did it happen? Because scientists got funded from the kings, and kings only, because they had the money to do
Mm.
because scientists said, okay, we need to learn or we need to experiment. The passion was there, but
Mm.
then because the king was funding, so they had to like make the things for the war. So both of them became happy, and this became a
Mm.
bad cycle of things. And
Mm.
even today the researchers are see, for example, if I have to do a PhD, I will have to write a document. I'll have to prepare a document saying that if I want my PhD to be funded, it will be funded only if my PhD is going to help some industry, है ना, because the
Hmm.
capitalism is effective, है ना. So my PhD is going to help human beings, nobody is going to fund me. So it was actually the case of funding. That's why the science could not give direction. But in Babaji's word, Babaji says, so scientific people, who are scientists? These are normal people, passionate people, understanding the laws. And no matter how much like by after dissection they have understood, under a controlled situation they have understood, but they have gotten the laws. So they created the things, and a very, and most of the experiment, that very very interesting these inventions are done by either women, and they're also done, a lot of inventions are done by farmers actually. So
Hmm.
interestingly enough, these things, like they were trying to like making all the technologies for the war, but Babaji says जो भी उनके हाथ से बुचक गया वो मानव के हाथ में लग गया. So all these television, है ना, all the telecommunication, है ना, ये सब दूरगमन, दूरश्रवण, दूरदर्शन, all
Hmm.
that was actually made primarily for the war. But then it was not used, like the wars were not happening, so they tried to, because the world is very capitalistic, current world, so they said, okay, let's make money like that. So that's how we got it, but it was not uh, like primarily made for humankind. Now imagine, in a video he says, imagine if you understand the science well, and imagine you actually create these inventions for, not for capitalism, but for humankind, for the wellness of humankind, then the science will realize its true self. And that's not a big deal, you know. That's why we all call ourselves Shodharthi. Hmm?
Mhm.
I hope that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, much was cleared,
Hmm.
but still,
I w- I
there is
would.
a big
Still, okay, okay.
question.
But yeah, if you want to
Uh,
speak, otherwise I will talk on that
uh,
the doubt Neelam Didi has on the
uh,
What I'm
life
trying to
atom.
say is
So
a
that I
reflection of a person. Like when a child is born,
Hmm. Hmm.
he comes with that curiosity. He see, आज वो वातावरण नहीं है वो मैं समझ रही हूँ, but मैं जब मानव आया मैं तब की बात करूँ, the existence when a child is there, he comes with that questions and everything. So I understand there are two parts of the brain, because we are the higher authority with a medas, with a developed medas, that is brain. Now there is an analytical part, and there is one part which is what do you say, the psychological part. Now the psychological part, somewhere
See,
it
Bhabhi,
was.
again, just hold on. You know, these two parts, these are actually the uh, that's how these people are seeing. You know, these scientists are seeing. Analytical capabilities are not in the brain, na?
No, they are with the Jeevan, because they are not able to identify Jeevan. I
They're not
understand.
able to identify, yes. They are only reading the impacts right now.
नहीं तो ये तो शोध में तो वो तो धरती का, क्योंकि तो सत्यानाश करके ही रहेंगे जब तक वो जीवन तक पहुंचेंगे नहीं भाई।
clearly, because of the funding is
Yes.
coming na, from there.
वो
No, no. I think Neelam Bhabhi got it. ये बिल्कुल ठीक है. No, you are तो सत्यानाश कर, यही तो दुख है ना. That's what बाबा जी is expressing.
तो यार वो नासा में हमको एक लेना चाहिए शिविर यार।
Yes, let's do it.
NASA NASA is actually outsourcing everything to Elon Musk now. Maybe we should talk to him.
Hmm. But there
Yes,
will be
भैया.
a time when I think if these things spreads throughout the world, then there
हाँ,
is a possibility that there may be some changes, and that is the what the effort Babaji has done, and we all of us can try. So
yeah.
coming back to the question of life atom, which Neelam Didi
जी
is making a doubt, I was
जी
also having a very great doubt on this. But then I have watched many videos where earlier I was also I have raised this question. Didi and Bhaiya knows that I have raised this question earlier when I joined that scientists say that this whatever thinking or decision making, everything is a byproduct of brain.
Hmm.
But then there were many people who believe in the rebirth, who believe in reincarnation, and there are so many people who have undergone near death experience. When you listen to them, then many of the neuroscientists have listened to them and they have believed what they are saying is correct. And what they are saying is correct is that they have, after their death, they have gone somewhere like this in a very similar fashion. Babaji was in Samadhi, like Akash that Didi was mentioning. It was exactly the same type of picture. You can read it out. There is a website on it. I can also share that website in this on this group. Then the neurosurgeon, they are still thinking there is something which is not a byproduct of brain,
Hmm.
because if there is a near death experience, it means there is something which is not connected to the brain, because now the person has died, but still
Hmm.
the person coming back and giving the experience that I have undergone this experience. Now coming back to this life atom, I say Babaji has proposed this. Okay, he must have seen. Now it is a unless we get another theory, unless we get something else, we have to believe it. While believing it, you and me have the option that we may make more research, we may do something and come out with a better conclusion. Babaji always said, I have come to this stage, you can always go to the next level. So this is
Hmm.
my take on that. Yes, I believe, earlier I was not believing, I believe there is something. Let
Hmm.
us give the name is as a life atom. Let us
Hmm.
do more research on that, and in future we can come with a better picture.
Hmm.
I hope I was able to put up my point.
यस भैया, थैंक यू सो
हाँ,
मच।
मैंने कोशिश की। देखिए, मेरी इंग्लिश भी बहुत अच्छी नहीं है। कोशिश करता रहता हूँ कि बोल
हम्म,
लूँ, लेकिन हाँ, मैंने जो ये मेरे साथ पिछले 2-3 महीनों में हुआ, दीदी, 2-3 महीनों में मैंने, मतलब मैं पीछे पड़ गया था कि किसी तरीके कहीं कुछ पहुंचना है ना। और ये जब मैं पहुंचा ना, मेरा एकदम से बिलीफ बन गया कि यार बाबा जी ने बहुत चमत्कार किया है ना। उससे पहले
हम्म,
मैं, जैसे कहते हैं ना, काउंसलिंग चल रही थी। तो 1 जनवरी को एडमिशन हो गया। अब दीदी नोस दैट आई एम ऑन द राइट पाथ, आई ऑलवेज से।
नहीं, मेरा अभी देखिए, ये इतना विकल्प जो महेंद्र भैया का मैं सुन रही हूँ। So there is one thing I have posted some questions to Mahindra Bhaiya also in person, but he is not answered those questions yet. So that path is still unresolved in me. तो मैं एक समीक्षा जो मेरी बनी अभी, वो इस तरह से है कि द आइडियलिज्म इज फॉर मी, अगर मुझे अनुभव करना है एक्चुअल में, अगर लाइफ एटम को देखना है एक्चुअल में सब करना है, तो मुझे एक वो साधना मार्ग लेना पड़ेगा, विच इज नॉट ऑफ कोर्स दैट आइडियलिज्म पार्ट में, क्योंकि वो गोल तो उनका अलग ही था। मुझे अगर अनुभव करना है तो ये साधना मार्ग में जाना पड़ेगा, लेकिन जीवन जीने के लिए आई थिंक बाबा जी ने जो प्रस्ताव, जो प्रपोजल दिया है, नथिंग लाइक इट विच आई आई हैव। सो मैंने एक समीक्षा इस तरह से मेरे में बिठाई है अभी। वो रॉन्ग भी हो सकती है कि ये दोनों एक दूसरे में पूरक हैं, मुझे ऐसा लगता है। अध्यात्म में मुझे अगर आगे बढ़ना है तो मुझे साधना मार्ग लेना पड़ेगा, लेकिन जीवन जीने में मुझे मध्यस्थ दर्शन ही इज दी सोल्यूशन, और कोई मुझे दिख नहीं रहा है ऐसे
वो
मैं।
सोल्यूशन है दीदी। जो आप बाद वाली बात कह रहे हैं ना, वो ठीक है। पहले वाली बात में बाबा जी ने उसको नकार दिया है। और आई थिंक इफ यू कंटिन्यू टू रीड, स्टडी, देन यू विल डेफिनेटली विल कम टू a stage when you will say, yes, now I can observe it, now I can feel it. Na, that feeling will come and there will no need of doing sadhana for the purpose of feeling it. So that is my conclusion. Otherwise, Didi and anyone else, Bhaiya, anyone else can put light on that.
आई टोटली अग्री, क्योंकि समीक्षा 8 सालों से नहीं बनी थी, तो कुछ एक समीक्षा बनी कि मध्यस्थ दर्शन इज दी ओनली सोल्यूशन फॉर जीवन जीने के लिए। तो वो समीक्षा अभी बनी आफ्टर 8 years। तो ये दूसरा एक अनरिजॉल्व क्वेश्चंस है, इसलिए मैं पूछ रही हूँ कौन से प्लेटफॉर्म से, जहाँ से मुझे आंसर मिलेगा तो मेरे में वो समीक्षा पूरी बनेगी। तो तब तक तो क्वेश्चन और शोध मेरे में भी वो जारी है। तो और वो मुझे लगता है अच्छी बात है कि मैं इसमें लगी पड़ी हूँ।
हम्म। I would like to add a little bit here. First, I'm reminded of the story where a sant had actually mastered the art of bringing out fire from his mouth. So this is a moral story basically, because Nilam Didi is saying that I have to do this sanyam to know the Jeevan. So I'm just reminded of the story because of this clever techniques that it is debunked, you know. So this saint could open his mouth and he could bring out fire from his mouth. And he said that I have been doing this for 20 years and this is the siddhi I have gotten. And it might be true because this is a moral story, or it might be a person who has really attained the siddhi, who knows. But the thing is that some other saint who was walking by him, and he was asked, what have you attained in the last 20 years? So this other saint just brought the matchstick and he said, I'm lighting this matchstick, and I'm showing you fire within 1 second. Your all 20 years that you have spent, I've shown you in 1 or 2 seconds that I can light the match with the matchbox. So what
Wonderful, wonderful. Very good example.
so what this means is that Babaji has done 20 years of sadhana. He has shown the fire. Equating it is the matchbox. Now, which one you want to go and invest in? So that is one thing. Um, I mean, no, I'm not pointing anything out. Neelam Didi, if you want to do the same, is good. But I will take it as a face value what Babaji is saying, because there is no alternative motive, alter motive that Babaji has. It's not that if we listen to him, वो हमारा मनो मन है, हमारा बुद्धि है, हमारा धन है, वो हड़प लेंगे, है ना? If we follow him, and he is saying it at the end that you also see, I have seen it, you also see. That sentence is very beautiful. He is saying that I have seen it as a human being. I'm transmitting to you that you can also see it. You see it also. And then the third thing that is that the question was in his mind when he was doing the Sanyam. The question in his mind was, what is God? So the other people or the other saints or the other people who go to Samadhi and all these things, they are like trying to look at themselves. What am I? Who am I? What am I? Who am I? So they attained all these things. Then they saw the things that where is their purpose or where is their existence. But his question was vast. And this is when Guddabaya was talking with us, and he said this that Babaji was talking with Guddabaya, and Guddabaya and Babaji said, "No, Guddabaya questioned Babaji, how did you get such a big thing in your mind? How did it open up into you?" And then Babaji said, "Okay, I had a question in my mind, what is God? And I found the answer, that is Vyapak Satta, that is space, that is God." So the question in his mind
The
was the
question,
unification, the
you know,
space.
the question was
Hmm.
कि what is Brahma? He knew
हाँ,
two things. He
हाँ,
told this story to us. So
राइट
his
राइट,
question was कि आप ये कैसे पा गए कि ये व्यापक ये वस्तु ब्रह्म है? So
हाँ,
then he said, I had two things in my mind.
हम्म,
Brahma is Vyapak. So I started focusing, what is that Vastu that is Vyapak around
हम्म,
me? So I could
हम्म,
find only one thing, that was space. And that's how
हम्म,
he landed on it.
हम्म.
So he said, I whatever thing was there, so I started focusing on it.
And he
So that
found the
was the
वस्तु
process.
of it. हाँ,
हाँ,
वस्तु के साथ जोड़ दिया उसने.
वस्तु के साथ, and that's actually यही चिंतन है. This is the process of चिंतन also. This is
हम्म,
called contemplation. So
हम्म,
we have the words, and from words to we have to reach the meaning. है
हम्म,
ना? Anyways, this we can discuss अभी आएगा आगे, then we will discuss on in Jeevan Kriyas also.
हम्म,
About this, question of Neelam Bhabi, this is a very good place to be where she is right now. And I
हम्म,
want to just say it like for the sake of saying it.
हम्म,
So when people start with bhas, at that level, so the one thing that is suggested is to go through the Vangmay, which you are already doing anyways, and I know that you'll reach to that conclusion. And
हम्म,
this is called so there is a lot of um, logics or lot of पूर्व जिसको बोलते हैं पूर्वाभ्यास पूर्व मान्यताएं, है ना? So these remain there. So उनका शमन होना होता है ना, they all have to dissolve. So
हम्म,
for them to dissolve, you have to see the thing from all the sides. So
हम्म,
that should happen, and that's why she's asking this question. And
yeah,
it's good, I think partly we'll keep sharing as
हम्म,
the thing need comes. And anyways, Bhabhi, you have written the questions to Mahendra Bhaiya, and he will
हम्म,
eventually answer, है ना? मुझे लगता है one question each class, that will be answered.
हम्म,
And that is also a process. You are in a process.
हम्म,
So one thing is like which what I can see because I know her. So there's some kind of sthirta, some kind of stability that has come in. That one thing that she said that it is उपयोगी, जीवन जीने के लिए उपयोगी है. So
हम्म,
that's how the jigyasa comes in. So she's in the form of jigyasa. Now the jigyasa has started. So for that, the input has also to be received. All that is being given, that has to be received. Then the processing will happen. So ठीक है, no, it's a process, and I'm happy that you are in the process. Slowly things will unveil अपने आप, that happens always.
yeah,
So that is also called bhas, for the stability in bhas, this is the process. And every curious person goes through this. And I remember when I was reading this book, Ganesh Bhaiya, if you remember, I had taken one whole session with Papa, like, how is it different from moksha, and will some lightning will happen or not?
Hmm.
Even today, at the point of anubhav, so that everybody is well, like, they are settled in that. It is very,
Hmm.
very tough to come out of this notion that some
Hmm.
striking of some lightning, some divine intervention will happen.
we
Yeah,
have convictions, so
yeah, conviction.
predefined convictions, set of
Hmm.
like a list that this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. So I always find it very beautiful that kids don't have that, and it's very easy for them to understand and grasp, so some of the concepts actually very easily. But yeah, so that is the thing, that we have our
Because they
condition.
start with jigyasa only, na?
Yeah,
Balak
yeah.
wo jigyasu hai. And
Mm.
we don't start with jigyasa. We start with that we know
Convictions.
something. Yeah,
Convictions.
we start from that.
Mm. So,
That's why we take so much time in Bhas.
mm,
Anyways, today the discussion was so passionate.
right.
It is 8 p.m.
Yeah, yeah.
already.
So yeah, we'll leave it there, and we hope to see you tomorrow. And yeah, let's continue. I'm sorry we could not let others speak. Also, we were taking up all the space today, but let's see if they can join tomorrow also. है ना?
I took the space. I'm sorry.
No, no, no,
But
no. I'm
No,
talking
uh,
about
no.
Shivangi and.
Someone has to come forward to ask question. Even
Uh,
we ask question. I ask question. Didi knows it. Bhaiya knows it.
yeah.
But slowly and slowly, you will feel like I am feeling. We will start asking less question as we will be resolved.
Mm. Yeah. So questions are welcome. See you tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
good night. Bye.
Namaste, bhaiya. Good night.